Hello, my name's Amber. Thank you for clicking on my video and watching it. I'm not aspiring to be a YouTuber or anything of that sort. I just wanted to discuss people. You probably know, I know that you have to put titles on YouTube. You probably know by the title of the video what it's about. So yeah. So I have recently, basically, there's a very, very, very high chance that I have cancer, specifically lymphoma, which is a type of cancer of the lymph nodes. And I want to make this video because I just want to be able to share with people my experience, because so far, although this whole process for me has only been going on a month, so far I've realised there's actually not that many people that you can speak to, that you can talk to. Like, the hospital are going to offer me counselling and things like that, but I think that there's not that many people that I can actually talk to, you know. There's not many people that, I think it would be great if people that have overcome cancer and they have fought it and they have had a good success rate with it would, you know, be there to talk to. Also, to, you know, when you're going through this situation like I am, no one knows what's going to happen. I haven't really known what's going to happen. I've had one thing happen that was actually planned and booked, and I've had God knows how many tests so far, which I'm going to tell you guys about, and I'm very grateful that I've had these tests in the amount of time that I have, because actually, in the scale of things, it's all happened very quick. I'm going to open my window, it's really hot. It's all happened to me very quickly, and yeah, I just thought I'd have a go at making a video talking through my experience, talking through my journey as and when it happens, so that other people, if anyone out there is in my situation and these videos help you at all, even if it's just to roughly know what to expect, then great. So I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've got this little dressing here on my neck. So I've had a biopsy today, but this all started a few weeks ago, maybe about 4 weeks ago. I went to my doctor because I'd noticed for about 2 months I'd had this lump raised here. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't going away, in fact it was getting bigger. So I made a doctor's appointment and went to go and speak to my doctor. I had previously gone to the doctor about throat problems and things like that. I used to live in the Lake District in Ambleside, and I now live in Bournemouth. And with that, I went to the doctor in Ambleside. They basically gave me some antibiotics and some ibuprofen and left it there. And I didn't really pursue it anymore because I was actually a little bit annoyed that I was given a 2-week course of ibuprofen and told to come back if it didn't do anything, which obviously it didn't. I didn't feel down or unwell within myself. Nothing like that really happened. I felt completely fine, you know? I didn't feel anything. There's no telltale signs. So anyway, I'm spending time around my boyfriend's house, and I remember being there one day and thinking, this isn't going anywhere. I should probably get this checked out. So I made an appointment. The doctor I went to in Bournemouth, I see a doctor called Dr. Wild, and he, so far, has been absolutely fabulous. He looked at it, felt around with my neck, he measured it, he also felt other parts of my body. At this point I had no idea what he was doing, or why he was doing it, not in a weird way, but he was examining me and I didn't really know what for. And then he said to me that he wanted me to go for blood tests immediately, and he thinks it's a raised gland or lymph node. He was like, I want you to go for blood tests and a chest x-ray as soon as possible. So the next day I went down to one hospital. I had blood tests. They took 5 blood samples from me, and I went in to go get an x-ray. I was quite fortunate. I didn't have to wait around in queues. There wasn't, I think it was just by chance, there wasn't very many queues because I wasn't booked in. And then the next day I got a phone call from my doctor telling me that I had a very high lymph node count. I no, sorry, not high lymph node count. I had a phone call from my doctor telling me that I have, I'm anemic, and that I had, the blood test had shown a lot of inflammation in my body. When I'd previously gone to the GP surgery to go and see him, he asked me if I could there and then book an appointment for the following week, so that when my blood tests come back and chest x-ray, he could discuss them with me. But he rang me the next day, and he said that he basically told me that I had low levels of hemoglobin in my blood, which is what I think carries oxygen around the body. Because of that, I also have low levels of iron and high levels of I've got high levels of inflammation. So with that, he said to me on the phone, I would like you to go back to the hospital and go get some more blood tests. I went back that day and went to go get some more blood tests. And then I waited until my doctor's appointment with him. When I went back the following week for my doctor's appointment for the GP, he basically said that he's going to put me on a 2-week emergency referral to go and speak to a haematologist consultant. So I got that appointment within 2 weeks. It was exactly 2 weeks to the date that the doctor had referred it. I went to go speak to one of the consultant's registrars, and she did a load of other examinations on me. She had to ask me loads of questions, etc. As you would expect. She had to ask me loads of questions, as you would expect, and then she basically said that she wants me to go and have a CT scan. So, and she also sent me for another load of blood tests, which they took another 5 blood samples from me. I went for the CT scan, come back for like a week later. That's when I got the appointment there through. So then I went to the hospital and had the CT scan. The hospital, I think I went for the CT scan on Thursday, and then on the Friday I got a letter from the hospital, from the haematology department. One of the specialist nurses there phoned me and basically said that the main consultant who's dealing with my case would like me to go in to speak to him as soon as possible. And so it said Saturday, so the following day on, sorry to hold up my beauty blender. I always play with it. So the haematologist told me that he wanted me to come in and speak to him specifically. So I went in and spoke to him, and basically, he didn't say there and then, like, you have cancer. Like, what he said was that there are many reasons why you can get inflamed lymph nodes. He's like, but the 2 main causes are either because you've got lymphedema, because you have, the 2 main reasons would be infection or lymphoma. He said that he suspects that it is cancer. He said because if it was an infection, it would have passed by now. And it also would have passed when I went to the doctors in AmberC and got the antibiotics. He said that would have got rid of any infection that you could have had at that time. So I asked him, is this definite? And he said, no, we're going to send you for a biopsy. That day he had someone take another 7 blood samples from me. So to date now I've had 3 blood tests. I've gone for 3 blood tests, but I've had 19 little tubes filled up. I've had a chest x-ray, a CT scan. I've had one of these, you go for so many, sometimes you don't even know what you're getting tested for. Like, I don't, it's so overwhelming, and I'm sure anyone in my situation can completely see where, you have to be in my situation to understand. A lot of people might think, oh, you're crazy, people are testing you, don't even know what for, but you're so overwhelmed, and as soon as the C word's dropped in, it changes everything. desperation comes in. It's almost like you let anyone do anything to you to find out what's wrong and help you. So I went to speaking to him. He was like, we're very suspicious that it is cancer. And for me, if it is, it's about figuring out, if it is cancer for me, it's about figuring out what type of cancer it is and what stage into the cancer it is. So for me, you've got Hodgkins and non-Hodgkins cancer. One is pretty life-threatening, and the other one has a high success rate of being cured. Not cured, but have, you know, it's not life-threatening. So currently, today, after I'm filming this video, it's probably, I don't know what watch on. So it's 25 past 7. I went to the hospital. I'm now considered an inpatient. I went to the hospital and I get given home leave. I went to the hospital at 8 o'clock this morning, and I got back. I was allowed to leave the hospital about 5:30. So I was in the hospital so they've measured my height, measured my weight. They've done my blood pressure, which has all showed up as being normal. They've done this test on me where they put all these little stickers on me, and then they just basically type a few things. They I don't really know. Something to do with my heartbeat though, and my pulse, and they tested all of that. They tested. They tested me for I've had an echo scan. I've got to go back next week for a PET scan, and they also did an ultrasound today, and a biopsy, and a respiratory test, and I have to go back tomorrow for a more in-depth lung examination, which is like more breathing into tubes and doing exercises and stuff like that. So currently that's where I'm at. Right now the best case scenario for me would be to have the type of either Hodgkins or non-Hodgkins. I can't remember which one's which, because it's a lot of information that you're given. The thing I would, you know, there's a lot of information that you're given. So what the best case scenario is that it's in early stages and it's the one that's not lethal, because this is something like a 94 to 92% success rate with that certain type of cancer, and the only cure for me is chemotherapy, which is terrifying. I obviously could lose my hair. It's going to make me very tired and ill for a long time. I've been told that if it is chemotherapy that I have to go through, if that's the treatment that they use, I'm going to be out of work for a year. I'm quite lucky in the sense that I live with my parents at the moment because of everything that's happening. So I'm not going to have to pay rent. I don't have to worry about things like that. I don't know how it works. If anyone else in the world is watching this and you're not from the UK, in the UK you can do something called a sawn with your car, which means you can take your car off the road and ultimately it sits there and you don't have to pay for it anymore. You just have a space off the road, so we can put it on my drive and it can just live on my drive. So my only outgoings will be like my phone bill and my phone insurance and Netflix. And I also have O2 Unlimited, limitless, so I can go to the films as much as I like. The way I'm kind of dealing with it at the moment is to be optimistic and keep an optimistic spin on things. So, you know, I kind of try and laugh about it as much as I can. I'm really fortunate in the sense that I've got really good friends and family. Like, my partner's really supportive, and my parents are really supportive. Like, they've taken time off work to come with me to my appointments. My sister's really supportive of me. Luckily my sister worked in a private hospital. She works in outpatients doing pre-assessments on people, so she has got a lot of knowledge on the terminology and things like that, which perhaps me and my parents wouldn't necessarily understand. If I could give anyone any advice going through these situations, is it's freaking petrifying. It really is. And people around you will hopefully always try and be optimistic. And if you're anything like me, when you think you know, you know. But for me, the one thing I'm glad that I haven't done is go to any of these appointments alone. Because someone telling you that you've got cancer, it's like the minute that word comes into the equation, that's all you hear. That's it. In your mind, you're just like, I have cancer and I'm gonna die. That's it. And then everything else that a doctor or the professionals, or anything else that the doctors or nurses or professionals tell you from that point onwards, it doesn't register in your mind because you have so much going on up here, and you're almost so frightened for yourself that it doesn't pale into existence. You know, you don't know what's going on. Your mind almost closes down, and you're just sat there thinking about all the worst case scenarios that can happen and everything that you could possibly imagine to be scared of when you've got cancer. That's all that's running through your head. So on my appointments at first, I got my mum and my dad to come because they both had questions that they wanted to ask. Yeah. So if you are in a similar situation to me, or you do have cancer and you've been diagnosed and you're going through treatment, it's probably very rich for me to say this now because I'm in very early stages of finding out. I've not even been properly diagnosed yet. I've had the fast track. They've done a biopsy of me. They've taken a sample of the lump in my throat, and then that has to go to Southampton Hospital to get checked by another haematologist consultant there, and then it's going to come back to my consultant, and then I'll find out the results. Plane going past. Or a helicopter, I think. But anyone that's going through what I'm going through, you're not alone. There are many people going through what you're going through. And there's always hope. Always hope. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video because I just think it's really important to take comfort in others. If anyone takes comfort in this video, then great. If nobody watches this video, then obviously there's not people looking for these kind of things on YouTube, then great, because it means that there's people not desperately searching for answers. But if this video could just help one person, if anyone out there can relate to me and it makes them feel slightly better, I would love to know. I would like, I'd like to hear from you. I'm not asking for likes. I don't necessarily want you to like and subscribe to my video. You can contact me through my Facebook. I'll leave that in the description box below. I know people do that because I do watch YouTube videos. I don't know how I do that because I've never actually uploaded a video. But I will leave my Facebook page linked in below, so if people want to contact me on like Messenger or something, you can do. Like, I'm more than happy to, because actually I would love to speak to other people going through what I'm going through. If you've ever had cancer and you've had a success story from it, please come to me in that way, because it makes me feel so much better knowing there is a chance. If you've ever had lymphoma, again, you know, if you're watching this and you've had lymphoma or you have it, I would love to hear from you. As I said, I'm not asking for you to like and subscribe my video. I don't care about that. I just want to help people. that's one thing I was thinking about laying in the hospital bed today. It's like, I've always considered myself quite a cold person. I'm good at switching off. I'm good at just disregarding other people. And I now, for the way I felt over the past month, I just now want to help people. I just want people that have been in my situation, or have been in the situation where you have cancer, you think you have cancer, you're going through treatment for cancer, you've come out the other side of cancer, if you've had a relative that's come out the other side of cancer, if you had somebody who's passed away from cancer like I have. I was so close to my nan all of my life, and lived with her for a lot of it, and she passed away 8 years ago of lung cancer. She did smoke about 40 cigarettes a day for most of her life, so, you know, I guess really there was always going to be an issue with her lungs. She, from her diagnosis to her passing, it was 3 years. I want to preserve my life for as long as possible, like anyone would. But yeah, so that's why I'm making this video. That's why I've kind of uploaded this, is because I just want there to be somebody. You know, if you are lost, I mean, I'm quite fortunate, but if you are lost or you do feel helpless in this situation, then just know that there are other people like you going through this, and if there's anything I can do to support people, I'm more than happy to do that, and I would love to do that. And likewise, if there's anything you think you have that can support me, please feel free to contact me, because I want as much support as possible. I'm not a religious person, but my best friend and her fiance are very religious. They go to church, they pray, I don't know what Christians do, but they do it. And they invited me to come to the church, and it was the first time I walked into a building and didn't feel, like, I get really nervous, like, I don't have, like, social anxiety as such, but if I go to, like, gigs, which I love to, sometimes you walk into a building and you feel like there's a hostility. Like, I'd be quite nervous to, like, bump into somebody by mistake, because people can be really hostile and cold nowadays. And I'd be very nervous to, and it's not the first time I've not felt like a lot of hostility. I don't know if that's just a form of, like, anxiety that I may have when it's in my head, or it's very real and everyone is on edge all the time. But I felt no hostility. I felt like I was totally welcomed in that room. And at the end of it, the person who led the service actually got a group of people that I don't know to sit and pray for me. So the people that sat and prayed for me, I felt so overwhelmed by their kindness. I cried. I really struggle to cry in front of people I don't know. I don't really enjoy letting my guard down in that way. I'm not really that kind of person. But, like, as much as I want people in my situation to see this, so my mum walked into this room now and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm filming a video and putting it on YouTube in the hope that somebody in my situation could come forward and speak to me, or that it may make them feel comfort in some way." I'd die. Embarrassment. Don't know why. Just don't like being vulnerable. Really don't. And I think the only reason I am able to film this video is I'm doing it from the comfort of my own home, and to me I'm talking to a camera. But the fact that at the church there were people that prayed for me and they don't know me. They don't. And the way they prayed, they genuinely care. So my advice is to put yourself around as many positive people as possible. The church that I went to is called Citygate Church. It's in Bournemouth. It's very close to the town centre. It's a lovely church with a really lively, warm atmosphere. It's not a very traditional church in the sense that it's in a church, it's in a building. And they had like a band that sung all the hymns, and it was just great. It was really lovely. They gave me like a little first timer welcome pack with mints and Kit Kat in, and information about the church, and water, a bottle of water, which I thought was really sweet. So yeah, like, try and just, the way I'm coping with this is to try and fill myself with positivity. My best friend who goes to this church is getting married and I'm her maid of honour, so obviously I'm not working now. I am going to be dealing with this, but I'm going to try and put as much time into helping her plan her wedding as possible. I'm going to, I saw this like little thing today where, you know, something I've always wanted to do is jump out of an aeroplane. I'm just going to bloody do it. And I also saw this thing in the hospital about you can do a abseil off St Paul's Church, St Peter's Church, which are going to Bournemouth, in order to raise money for the hospital. So that's what I'm going to give a bash at doing. I want to raise money. So far, a lot of people at Bournemouth Hospital has helped me, and I want to put some effort into raising money for them. I've been talking for about 25 minutes now, so I think I'm going to cut this video short. I think I'm probably going to finish up here. But as I said, if there is anything I can do to help anyone else, or if anyone has any information they can give to me, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you are going in this situation, the only thing I can probably suggest to do is stay positive, because if you don't laugh, you cry, right? Anyway, if you have listened to me waffle on for the best part of 25 minutes now, thank you very much. I hope I can help you in some way. And I might not make another follow-up video to this. I might not do that at all. I don't really know. I just kind of had this thought today that I wanted to start helping people, and I thought maybe just getting it out there is a good way to do that. So thank you very much for watching, and maybe see you soon.